Hey everyone, my name's Jonathan Anthony. I'm the youth pastor at MCC, been there for about 2 years now. And it's been really weird not being with everyone. I mean, the youth, we've had our Zoom calls and it's been great just to stay connected with them. But just being as a church family as a whole, it's been weird not being with everyone. Hope you're all doing well. But I know in this time, at least for me, it can be really hard not to have control over anything, it seems like. I know for me, I used to thought I was good with going with the flow and being flexible with whatever God's doing in my life. And really over the last, I would say like month or so, but really looking back even more so, it could be over the past couple of years, I really haven't been great with acknowledging and accepting the ebbs and flows of life, experiencing what God has to offer at different stages, and just releasing complete control to God as far as what He's doing in my life. So like for me, before coronavirus even hit, I was really struggling. I was in a time where my relationship with God wasn't at its peak by any means. It was hard because I'd been praying for a lot of things and just wasn't really hearing from God, or the answers I was getting, I was ignoring because they weren't what I wanted. But yeah, I just had been praying for a new job, and I had just gone out to Chicago, and long story short, that job didn't turn out to be what it was, and I really thought that was it. I really thought that was the missional opportunity God was giving me. It turned out that it was not that, and I came home, and a few days later, after getting excited about the coffee shop job that I have, that had to shut down too, and then I was unemployed for 3 weeks. And for those 3 weeks were really just not a great time. I know beforehand I was thinking, 3 weeks off, I mean, besides losing money, that sounds like a great time, like just doing nothing, relaxing, kind of be refreshing, right? But no, I just dived way too deep into video games, TV, wasted all my time doing things that were not self-beneficial. They were self-deprecating, one of those words. I'm a math guy, not an English guy, but you know what I mean. But they were things that my life was not getting any fulfillment out of. And I think what it ultimately came down to, the fact was, I was trying to escape the reality that I was in. I didn't like what was going on in my life at that moment. I was frustrated, I was angry. And so I just wanted to escape to a different reality. I wanted to go somewhere else. But thank goodness God pulled me out of that. I just one day realized how unhealthy it was. Like, I was getting angry for no reason at all. I would bang my fist on the table whenever I would get scored on, and then my hand would start to hurt, and I was like, God, this is not good. I'm not an angry person. I don't know where this is coming from. But anyway, God really taught me that I need to release control of things that I have no control over, let Him take control. I once heard a good quote about worrying, how worrying can be a good thing. Worrying can be a good thing whenever it's about things you have control over, but if it's worrying about things you have no control over, like getting through traffic, or worrying about, I don't know, something else in your life that you don't have control over, it's a waste of emotion. And so for me, trying to control things that I can have no control over, this coronavirus, when God's going to bring this next job opportunity for me, when God's going to act in ways in my life that I want Him to, that are completely up to Him. Trying to take control of that is a waste of time and emotion, and really it just takes me away from being able to fully experience where God has me right now. It's a matter of trying to figure out what you can get out of a situation instead of how you can get out of a situation. And so for me, really just learning how to embrace the ones in our life so we can love the tens. I feel like if you put our life in a scale of 1 to 10, as far as where we're at emotionally and where God has us, I feel like a lot of times we try to control our lives so that we stay in that 4 to 7 range, so that we don't experience those ones. So we do everything we can to control our lives so that we don't have that chance. And I think a lot of times not taking risks, not letting God take control, not following His direction, can really keep us in that 4 to 7 range, which I think is just a travesty. Because if you think about it, we're meant to live this life following God, to experience those 1s and 10s, to experience the fullness of God, to experience the lowlights of life, because at the end of the day, though, we still know that in those 1s, we still have the joy that Christ gives us. Things may not be going our way at all, but we still know that there's joy in who Christ is and everything he's done for us, and the grace, the love that we have in him. And so my prayer for you guys is just that in this time, where this coronavirus could really feel like it's kicking our butts, whether or not you've actually been affected or anyone you know has been sick, it's really just affecting our lives in a lot of different ways that were unforeseen really by anybody. And we really have no idea when this is going to end. But the reality is God is still in control. It may not seem like it may be harder to say, maybe a lot of head knowledge, but harder to accept in your heart. But God has it. I want to read a verse from Mark, chapter 4, verses 37 through 40. It says, "Suddenly a strong wind blew up, and the waves began to spill over into the boat, so that it was about to fill with water. Jesus was in the back of the boat, sleeping with his head on a pillow. The disciples woke him and said, 'Teacher, don't you care that we are about to die?' Jesus stood up and commanded the wind, 'Be quiet,' and said to the waves, 'Be still.' The wind died down, and there was a great calm. Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'Why are you frightened? Do you still have no faith?'" And so for me, this is just one of the stories where we just came from a point where Jesus was preaching parables, and people were following them. This is early on in his ministry, but we still see these highlights that Jesus is already having. And then we hit this low light, and the disciples are so quick to worry, and understandably so. I mean, water's crashing over them, huge storm in the water, like, seems to be no way out. And that kind of can be where we're at right now. Everything's kind of falling apart. Everything's different than how it used to be. Missing people that we haven't seen in a while. But at the same time, we can just still know that Jesus is right there with us. He's there to calm the storm whenever he wants to, honestly. And it's just a matter of, in this season, embracing it, learning how to better yourselves, learning how to take advantage of this opportunity that we have to be at home, be with our families, or sometimes some of us be by ourselves and just dig into our relationship with God more and learn about who we are. But yeah, this isn't easy. I'm not saying that it is, but I just pray that we can all learn together how to embrace this opportunity and how to really just fully release it to God. And that though this may be a one in our lives, that this is going to lead to a 10. This is going to lead to a time where we get out of this, we can then experience and fully love and appreciate the time we get to have with our friends and family and our church family even more so down the road. But yeah, I thank you all for listening, and I pray you guys all stay healthy and well. I'm looking forward to seeing you all whenever this is all over.